Huste of Germany in action against Tigran Uzilian of Greece.
Well-schooled, the best guys are finally coming against each other now.
Absolutely, no such thing as a bad final stage where both losers get a medal. It'll be bronze, of course, but they're looking to get into that elusive final. Here's the Greek, Tigran Uzilian, I should say, I'm sorry. 163 wins and 198 contests there for Uzilian. Bronze winner in the Mediterranean Games in '97. Also the same year, and he's the Greek champion from 1990.
Fifth place at the World Championships in 1997.
And I think about Huste's two bouts so far. In his last 16, he won 10-1 against the Italian, and he won 6-0 in his quarter-final match against Lungu. So one thing about Huste that
adapt at the computer scoring system.
Yes, of course, his brother Falk Huste now out of these championships, but both these lads quite similar in style, as I'm sure you'll agree. In fact, they're quite hard to tell them apart. No doubt about that. This diminutive Greek is going to give him problems on the inside, but Huste should rattle up the points at long range. A trip there from Huste over the referee's foot.
Uzilian has started off pretty confident. He's working the body very effectively. He's taking the bout to Huste.
And Uzilian, by the way, beat the Frenchman 6-3 in his first bout, and then he went on to have another good win over the Ukrainian 8-7 against Duke of the Ukraine to get himself in this semi-final position. So that's pretty good form, isn't it? It means he can fight.
Well, he has to be able to fight to be at this stage.
Yes, indeed. And I will tell you that with 5 qualifiers for these European Championships this year, and this is their last remaining hope.
Again, like the other nation, Turkey, the Greeks have improved drastically over the last few years in international competition.
Yes, the balance has swung. It's a nice right there from Uzilian, I should say. Getting hold of some of these names is a bit difficult on occasion, but Uzilian did score there with a good right hand that shook Huste. End of round 1. Well, Uzilian is in the lead. That's very unusual. Normally we're seeing these longer range fighters getting the edge on the computer scoring system, but a bustling fighter like this Greek has suddenly found himself 1 point in front.
Yes, he's executing his punches very effectively. He's catching Huste under retreat as he goes back.
So Uzilian then, 29 years of age, a late start really for him. In fact, a late flourish in this stage of his career. He's got to the semi-finals of the European Championships, and Huste, only 23, the elder of the two brothers. 100 wins, by the way, for Huste in 147 bouts coming into these championships, and 5th place in the 1997 World Championships. Round 2 then, and there's the score at the end of round 1, 1-0 to Tigran Uzilian.
Huste seems to be a little bit the stuff. Uzilian here, he seems to not so much of himself, really.
Yes, he's been a bit intimidated by this rough approach by Uzilian, and he needs really to break out of that and start getting that jab working, doesn't he?
He certainly does. And again, at this stage of the competition, you know, a lot of these guys are, they're willing to do so many things, but willing is rather different from what you can do when the bell rings.
And of course, the biggest shock so far in this tournament is 9 German entrants, and this is the only one left.
Now, that is a very big shock.
That is a major shock. Of course, the Germans' position, but on this occasion... So, K. Huste then flying the flag for Germany, and Tigran Uzilian flying the flag for Greece. A lot of weight, isn't there, on Huste's shoulders?
Certainly is a lot of weight on his...
We have, of course, Koba Gogaladze of Georgia, and we also have the man who put out the Irishman Eugene McEnany. He goes by the name of Artur Gevorkian, and they're contesting the other semi-final. So no easy ride to the gold in this draw.
Huste's just about to use his jab and try to work the combinations off the jab.
Let's see what the score... Well, it's given no score there in round 2. And as I say, we're not going to make a major fuss about this. You know, it's just the way things have worked out. And I'm boring myself to death by keeping on about the scoring system, so we won't do that anymore. So 2 gone, and Huste, bit of a... and not being...
Maybe there's some sort of a strategy implied by Huste and the German coach. You never know. I mean, it's not that much significant score.
When you're not scoring when you should be, it's quite something, isn't it?
It certainly is.
Expected score after that second round, and nothing's there, so he's going to have to change his tactics slightly. Isn't he?
He would have to, most definitely, because if he realized that the strategy being implied is not working effectively, then he have to change.
Absolutely, and they're clearing water up there in the German corner. Quite a bad spillage, in fact.
That could be quite dangerous, that. I mean, especially on the boxer on the move, on the retreat. Find himself very, very hurt.
So round 3 then of the scheduled 5 2-minute round contest. Kay Huste, the tall German in the red vest, looking to get a first point on the scoreboard. And started this round well. Well, I suspected he might have to get a little bit more adventurous in this round, because everything he's tried so far has been fruitless.
Zillian, he seems very tenacious. He's just, he's not worried about what the opposition is in front of him. He's just going out there executing his punches. It's a little bit of a unique way to look at it when you watch a boxer who is much more shorter than his opponent, but is actually in the outside boxing.
Yes, that's interesting. You would have thought he'd have tried to engage Huste in a punch-up, which would have suited him. But as you said, you know, boxing quite well at long range here.
Yes.
Not really landing with too much at the moment.
He's not, but it's been very effective for him so far.
I think. At least he's landed the punches, hasn't he?
Yes, he's gotten a couple of clean shots off so far. Very well tucked up in defense.
Nice jab from Huste. Just telegraphing it a bit too much there. Zillian just sliding away out of danger.
Zillian is allowing Huste to...
1 each after 3. We're going to take a short break. Now, we've got 2 rounds to go. Adrian, put your money where my mouth is.
I would say so far that it's been a change of tactics here by Huste. He's employing a different style now. He's taking command of Zillian, and you just never know, though.
That's right, and it's very unusual to see a Greek boxer at this stage in a major championship. He's done exceptionally well. In fact, there's boxing, professional boxing in Ayia Napa in Cyprus, believe it or not, on the 4th of June. And, well, if this young man, this Greek, is anything to go by, that could mean a resurgence in boxing in Greece. I say a resurgence. There's never really had any history, but who knows? They could be starting.
Also good for recognition for his governing body for on the AIBA circuit.
And, of course, we've said this before. There's no fluke getting here. And is even less of a...
Huste here seems to have started off very slow in this round. He's, I noticed the last round he employed a tactic where he turned the pressure on a little bit more in the latter part of the round. Maybe a game plan or a strategy that they had beforehand. Both boxers at this moment not willing to commit themselves, trying to weigh each other up.
That's right, it's a very delicate stage in the contest, and the slightest mistake here, of course, and you could fall behind 1 or possibly 2 points. Very hard to get back again.
A lot of leg movement from Huste, but no punches. And you got to have some punches landing here. If not, you can find yourself in dire straits.
Absolutely. Oh, was that Zillian then landing? And as the bell ends, let's just see what the judges think. Well, they've got Huste 2-1 up now. Well, Huste's come back and clawed himself into this contest now to have a lead. And don't forget, at the end of round 1, Uzilian was 1 point in front. He carried that through to round 2, where nothing else was added. Huste leveled in round 3, and now he's gone in front.
As we've seen in other contests, Uzilian wouldn't want Huste to start getting a lead ahead, because it'll be a very difficult gap to close.
That's right, and Uzilian from point behind, and he's got an almighty step to climb now, because we found that point very hard to budge, haven't we?
Especially in the latter half of the fight. Uzilian, obviously, we would hope that being advised that he's behind won't have that adverse effect on him.
Absolutely, and of course this very unusual to find a German boxer struggling at this stage, and
he has to be careful there with his head. He's leading with his head.
Well, that's a shame if he should pick up a public warning. That'll cost him 2 points, which of course will be impossible to claw back. But a very positive start this by this diminutive Greek man.
Very determined. He's executing a lot of variety of different punches, working the body constantly. But again, whether they're scoring is something totally different.
Absolutely. I mean, for Master Huste, he took most of those punches on the gloves and head guard.
At this stage of the competition also, we'll be seeing a variety of different styles and temperament also, because that plays a big part in there. You know, you have to keep your composure at all times and keep your emotions intact. If not, if you let it get out of control, then you can find everything just crumbling before your eyes.
Yes, that's absolutely right. Temperament, a vital part of a boxer's armory at this very important stage. And this is a good round so far for Uzilian. I just wonder, as you said, Adrian, how many of these punches are being scored.
Yes, Huste has a very tight defense, and again, based on the computer scoring system, if they're landing on the forearms and the hands and their elbows, it's not really scored. Unless there's some sort of a jarring punch, which seems to catch the judge's attention predominantly.
Well, Huste's barely thrown a punch, in fact, in this last round. Uzilian's the man doing all the work, and once again they're bashing away 5, 6, 7, 8 punches going through. Okay, not everything is landing, but he's the man creating the offense.
But again, Huste seems to imply a tactic where he comes on, he starts executing more punches at the latter half of the round.
And of course, body punches rarely scored in amateur boxing these days, more's the pity. And, well, you try and tell me that Huste won that last round. That's appalling scoring.
That is appalling. I am very disappointed to see that at the end of the 5th round, 2-1. One punch landed.
Absolutely. That's a disaster, really, for... Well, it's a disaster for the sport, isn't it? You know, you get a guy who threw so many punches. OK, maybe only a 5th of them got through, but surely that was enough to register 1 single point. Not so as far as the judges are concerned, though. Kay Huste gets himself a place in the final with a 2-1 victory over Tigran Uzilian of Greece. Great pity.
Can only add to frustration of someone like Uzilian with the ability and the determination he has.
That's right. No professional game to speak of course, in Greece.
It's very sporting, Uzilian.
Absolutely right, yes. Uzilian, very sporting character. 29 years of age. This is probably his last championship.